Good morning. In the last class, we discussed about the for loop, especially for loop is for the iterated. It is a repetition purpose only. Okay, the for loop is used to iterate the statement or the part of the program several times. The general syntax for the for loop within open bracket, expression 1 semicolon, expression 2 semicolon, expression 3 and close the bracket, and open braces code to be executed and close braces. It is on a syntax for the for loop. It is in a for loop flow chart. First part is for the initialization, second part is for the expression 1 is for the initialization, expression 2 is for the condition, and if condition is true, a body of the code, that is statement, has to be executed. After the execution, it move to the increment / decrement. Then after that, it tests the condition. Okay, conditions. So if condition false, skip that body of the statements and exit from the loop. So it is in a simple flow chart. I think I have been explained this flow chart in the last class. Simple programs by using the for loop, and the properties of the expression 1, and what should be the properties, and what is minimum initialization, that is the expression 1 is purely initialization, it is an optional one. We cannot declare the variable in expression 1. The variable should be declared first. We have to declare the variable, then that variable can be used in the loop. Okay, expression 2 is for the conditional expression. We can use the more than one condition. More than one variable can be initialized in the expression 1. More than one condition can be there in the expression 2. It is the simple program for that. Here we have used I equal to 0, j equal to 0, k equal to 0. We have been initialized more than one variables, and same thing we have been used a condition. In this case, we have been used things called here I equal to I is less than 4, k is less than 8, and j is less than 10. It is called the conditional statement, and it is the initialization part. It is expression 1, and finally it is called the increment / decrement. It is not only a increment / decrement. We can also use any mathematical expression also. It will execute after if the condition is true, then body of the instructions it is need to follow. After that, it will go for the condition. If the condition is true, if this condition expression 2 is true, then body of the instruction, open bracket and close bracket, whatever the instructions are there, whatever the statements are there, these statements have been executed. After the execution, it go for the increment operation. Then after the increment, it move to the condition. If the condition is true, then the body of the instruction. If condition false, skip this entire body of the instructions. Okay, it is about the simple for loop. If you are not being used by only 2 semicolons, here there is no condition. If there is no condition, then the loop will be moved into the infinite loop. Or for example, if you use for within open bracket and close bracket double quotations, then it is the loop will be moved into the infinite loop. The expression 3, it is expression 3 used to update the loop variables. Okay, whatever the variables you have been defined, that variables can be updated single time. It will be executed number of times, the loop number of times. It is also optional one. You may use, may not use. If you not being used, then automatically go for the testing a condition itself. Straight away it will move to the testing the condition. Okay. In this case, we have been used more than one variable have been updated. Here I plus comma j equal to j plus 2. Here we have been a mathematical expression we have been used, that is j equal to j plus 2. Okay, any mathematical expression can be used in the updating the variable. Okay, here in this case I as well as j equal to j plus 2. Initially it starts from the left side and it ends with the right side, and then it go for the condition testing. First it increments the I value, then you'll go for the control will go for the j equal to j plus 2. After this updating, then it move to the loop will be tested with the condition that it satisfies the I is less than 5. Okay, next is the about loop body. Okay, the braces, open brace and close brace are used to define the scope of the loop. However, if the loop contain only one statement, then we do not need to be use braces. If the only one statement is present, then no need to worry about the open and close braces. If more than one statement is present below the loop, whatever, if it is if loop, whatever the loop, if or while, do while, whatever the loop statements you should use for the iterative statement as well as the selective statement for the loop, for the selection or the iteration. When the more than one statement is present, more than one instruction is present, then you should use the open braces and close braces body of the instruction. A loop without a body is possible. The brace work as a block of separator, one block to another block separator. It is being used using the open braces and the close brace. The value variable declared inside the loop is valid only for that block and not outside. Whatever the variables you have defined inside the for loop, it is meant for that only. It will not be reflected outside. Consider the following example. In this example, just see here, we have initialized I, the variable declared I, and it is outside the loop. The I is outside the loop. Here initially I equal to 0 and I is less than 10. I 0 is less than 10. Then it goes to the inside the loop. In the inside the loop, one more local variable you have defined. That local variable I equal to 20. The print value, print percentage d, it will prints the this I value, that is I inside the loop. Then it move to the I plus plus. It will not increment I or initialize inside the loop. We have initialized I equal to 20. This 20 will be reflected within the loop only. It will not be outside the loop. Here outside the loop, I value is 0. That increment means I equal to 1. It is not 21. It is not be 20 because the inside variable loop will be inside, that is open bracket close. Within that we have defined inside. It will not reflecting to the outside the loop. Here I is equal to 1. Then it will test. It will print the 20 for the 10 times. From 0 to 10, total 10 times it will be printed. That is the meaning of that previous slide. That is consider that example that for example that is the value variable declared inside the loop is valid only for that block, not outside. It will not reflect on the outside the loop. Only it is meant for the defined inside the loop. Okay, what is meant by the infinite for loop in a C? To make a for loop infinite time, generally we should not define. The loop should be finite number of times only. Generally, general requirement is the loop should be defined finite number of times. If you want to move the loop into infinite number, we need not give any expression in the syntax. Instead of that, we need to provide 2 semicolons to validate the syntax of the for loop. Syntax of the for loop is just a semicolon. First is the initialization part, semicolon, followed by the expression 1 is initialization part, semicolon, then expression 2. Expression 2 is the conditional part, semicolon, then followed by the that is expression 3, it is increment or decrement. In this case, if you use only open bracket, double semicolons, close bracket, that is the syntax for the for loop. If you use that, if you are not being initially initiated any value, initial value, and you are not been testing any condition at all, then the for loop will be moved into the infinite number of times. This will work as an infinite loop. Just see here the in the objective exam, objective type, we have find this objective question, that is for loop, open bracket, and within the brackets double semicolons. First semicolon is for the initialization ending. Second semicolon is for the conditional ending. It is the general syntax of the for loop. Okay, here you are not been testing any condition, you are not been any updating the variables. Okay, for that time you will simply printing this infinite number of times. That will come to PPS, it is continually printing. It is the loop will be continually works. Okay, general requirement is for loop should not be, you should not be define the loop infinite number of times. It will not be terminated at all. It will not be, the program will be, you have to forcefully, you have to terminate the system. Okay, next topic is the jump statements. Already we know that the entire operation is branching can be done in the two ways. One is called the conditional branching, second is called the unconditional branching. In the conditional branching, one is called the selective, second is called the iteration, it is repetition, looping. And in unconditional, in the unconditional thing, we have the four statements. One is called the break, second is called the continue, third is called the go to, and fourth is the return. Okay, these are the four statements present in the unconditionally without testing any condition. These statements, these instructions will works. Okay, first one is for the break statement. The break is a keyword. Break, all these are the keywords: go to, break, continue, and return. These four are the keywords. They are the reserved words. They are meant for some operation, some function. Okay, already they have been predefined things. The break is a keyword in a C, which is used to be bring the program control out of the loop. Within the, for example, you want to break in between the operation. At that time, you use a break. The break statement breaks the loop one by one. That is, in the case of the nested loop, it breaks the inner loop first and then proceed to the outer loop. The break statement in C can use in the following two scenarios: with the switch followed by the case. Then in the case we can use a break. Okay, already we have been with the loop also. First case is two scenarios. One is in the switch followed by the case. That is in the first scenario. In the second scenario with the loops, that is for the for loop, while loop, do while loop. Also we can use the break statement. Okay, for example, you have been noted the when we use a syntax for the simple switch case, switch and followed by the case. Here we are testing the condition with that loop, that a break will be, if the condition is true, it will go to the break and exit from that loop. Condition false, it test for the next condition. Like that. That is the flow chart for the break statement. Here, just see the example. When we use the in for loop, I think we have been used in the example switch as well as case followed by case, that each case has a break. I had already explained that what is use of the break after the case. If you are not being used a break, what will happen? For any for loop, here initially, for example, you have been initialize the declared the value I, a variable have been declared I, and for I equal to 0, I is less than 10, I plus plus. Okay, print f %d I. Initially it has been printed 0. Then it tests the condition. If I equal to, I double equal to, this conditional statement. If I equal to 0, then break. It stops here only. It will not, it breaks that come out of the loop. If this condition is false, it go for the increment. Increment is, next is 1, next to 2, 3, 4. When 5 comes, automatically the condition satisfied. If this condition satisfied, break, exit from the loop. That is, come out of the loop. Print, come out of the loop. I is a 5. When 5 comes, 5 is the last, that 5 value. When 5 is the I value is comes to the 5, the condition satisfied. Then condition satisfied, exit from the loop. The break, it stops the operation. It will not, the next iteration will not go. Based on this condition, the loop will not continue further. Okay, the use of the break in the loop. Okay, next is the continue. Okay, the continue statement in the C program used to bring the program control to beginning of the loop, starts of the loop. Okay, here the break is stops and continue will starts from the initial point. It starts to go to the particular location where we have specified. Okay, the continue statement skips some lines of the code inside the loop and continue with the next iteration. It is mainly used for the condition so that we can skip some code for the a particular condition. Okay, here we need not to display some number. For example, I have a number from 0 to 10. I need to skip some number 5. At that time, I'll use if number I equal to 5, then continue. That is on a case. We'll see that example. This is simple syntax for the continue. A syntax loop statements. In the continue is used in the loop statements only. Generally, continue statement is used inside the loop statements only. Okay, loop statement followed by the continue. Some line of the code which you to be skipped, that has to be there, and then go to that thing. Just we'll see the example, then we'll come to know that how it is being worked. Okay, it is an example for the use of the continue. Here, let's see here, I equal to 1. I is initialized. First is declared. Initialization of a local variable have been started a loop from the 1 to 10. Okay, here I need to count the value from 1 to 10. Start the loop from 1 to 10. That is I equal to 1. I is less than or equal to 10. I plus plus. Okay, if I double equal to 5, continue. This states that if value of I is equal to 5, it will be continue the loop. It will not go for the print statement. It will not go for the n. When I comes 5, it continue. The condition, if condition satisfied, continue. Continue means it will go to the I plus plus. It skips the printing the I. End of the loop. Here print %d I. Initially it is not, condition is not true. Condition not true means initially I equal to 1. Test the condition. It is not true. Till the here \n means it prints first 1, 2, and 3, 4. When 5 comes, when I becomes 5, the condition satisfied. Then condition satisfied, it will not go to the print statement. It will simply move to the I plus plus. That is, I will be incremented by 1. Then the condition falls. Then it will be printed. That means we are skipping the one statement, that is called the 5. Here for skipping a 5, we are use this continue statement. Okay, print %d \n I. It prints the 1 to 4, then it skips the 5, then prints up to the 10. That 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, this is our the use of the continue. The output of that is 1 to 4. Then it skips the value here 5. 5 is skipped. In this case, 5 have been skipped. Then we'll move to the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It displays that thing. Next, goto. In the C program, goto statement is known as the jump statement. Simply it jumps to specified location, the specified label. As the name suggests, goto is used to transfer the program control to a predefined label. First we have to define a label. It will go to goto followed by the label. First label colon, then statement. After that, when you use a goto followed by label, it move to the particular label when you use this. The goto statement can be used to repeat some part of the code for a particular condition. It can also be used to break the multiple loops, which cannot be done by using a single break statement. However, using a goto is avoided these days since it makes the program less readable and compatible. Okay, first is syntax of the goto. First label colon comma and some part of the code you have to execute, then followed by the goto, then you should use label. Okay, first goto space label. Label is the name, whatever the name, your predefined name, label name here, if you your name, then followed by some part of the code, then goto label semicolon. It is a syntax for the goto. Okay, just here to print the table, initial int num I equal to 1, num have been defined, and table is a, here you should have an a, that print percentage d multiplied by percentage d equal to backslash num I, num into I plus plus. If here condition, you have specified condition here, if I is less than or equal to 10, then go to table. If more than that, skip this instruction, come exit from the loop. Here I plus plus, the same thing. Here go to table. Table is printing the repeated operation. Repeated operation is print modulus into modulus percentage d multiplied with the percentage d. Here just simply prints the num is, say, entered value. If you have entered 5 multiplied x, that is I equal to 1, here use equal to, then more percentage d, that is I num into I, which is equal to 5. Then you have used a backslash n to move to the next line, that is 5, number is fixed, only you have incrementing the value of the I equal to 2, then it prints in this fashion till the I becomes 10, the table will be repeated. Here we have used a goto table. Table is the name, table is the label, table is the label. First you have to define a label, then you can use that label, go back to the label, go back to the particular specified name. Okay, output of this is same. Enter 10, you have entered a value num equal to 10, it will displays the 10 table up to the 100, 10 into 1 up to 10 into 10. Okay, here if you want to skip this operation, simply here enter a number. If n is less than 0, if n is less than 0, go to n. It is for the, it is a simply factorial of factorial number, go to n. If condition is go to n, end is you should not perform any operation. If you are factorial of 0, you should not perform any, for that reason go to end. To skip this entire instructions, entire statements, you have used go to end. Okay, and here you can use a label above or below. In the previous case, we have been labeled, have been initially defined. Here label have been defined at end, enter at the bottom. In the initially beginning, okay, top only we have defined label. Here bottom you have defined label, that is end. End is here, end colon semicolon, go to end semicolon, go to that it reads the where I need to go to specified label. If condition is true, then perform. If not, if it is not true, then it move to the c equal to 1, c is less than n, c plus plus. That is simply factor. It is an operation of the fact. F is the defined, f equal to 1 into c, first 1 into 1, and it goes back to the f only. then it increment the, see, till n it becomes the n, that is n number of terms. Then is, that is 1 into 1, then 1 into 2, then 2 into 3, then 6 into 4, like that it will perform. If you, that is in factorial of a n number. Okay, when should we use a goto? The only condition in which using goto is preferably is when we need to break the multiple loops using the single statement at the same time. We should use the break when we have a multiple loop. That multiple loop has to break. Then we should use a goto statement. This is a simple program. It is for the when we have to use goto out. Okay, it is a when we for a within a loop, for the breaking a loop, we will use this break statement. Simply it is output of that thing.